Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. In the upper left corner, we got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cottrell.
Gentlemen, how are we feeling? We're out of March. The madness has ceased. Now we're getting into the thick of the championships.
In the upper right corner, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shallcross.
I feel like Gene's a little cranky.
Not cranky, just trying to catch up, getting everything sent out, and yeah.
Cranky.
Sure. Be on time. So got a lot to get into this week. We're going to talk about college basketball, March Madness. We'll talk about opening day, Major League. We got our outfielders list. We got wire-to-wire trivia. We have safeties list. We got a lot to get into this week. But the thing that I guess is most pressing is the Final Four, the bracket. Cottrell, do you have the bracket to share so we can go over like who? If you don't, I can pull mine up.
Yeah, I'll have it here in a second. It'll be up in one second.
We have 4 number ones, which I got to give Shally credit for. On the show, predicted on his bracket. He's definitely leading in the clubhouse right now. His top bracket. He predicted all 4 number ones, and that's what we have. He said the exact quote. I remember the quote. It said, "It hasn't happened since the last time the Final Four was in San Antonio, and it's going to happen again." That was the exact quote, right, Bill?
Pretty close. Close enough for you to get the check mark.
It's a good check mark. But the problem with college basketball and the problem of March Madness brackets is if you don't predict the winner, you're not going to win. So you need Florida to close it home for you. You got the Final Four. You got the ladies to the dance. But you need Cinderella to put on the glass slipper.
It's true. I think I don't think either one of you can catch me at this point, though, can you?
I can catch you 100%. Duke wins, I catch you 100%. I have a good bracket. My bracket's very good.
How many points are you behind?
Like 140.
I don't know how you would catch me then.
Well, the national champions were 360 points. That's how
how much is getting there though?
Well, I have Duke getting there, and I have them playing Florida. So if we have Duke, Florida. My point being is, if it's just the national championship, I will catch you. You can see it by the projected points. It sucks because your bracket is the second best bracket, but the guy that I guess is ahead of you on the bracket has the exact same finals that you do, but he got one more Sweet 16 thing right than you did. So I don't know which one he got right, but whatever it is, like your bracket's like the top 99th percentile. You're 99th percentile. You have 1,100 points. I have 920. And the national championship is worth I don't know. It's just 300. It's over 400 points predicting the national champion. My max is 1560. Your max is 1740. So the difference, the 180 difference, would not help you if Duke wins. Do I think that's right? Do I think that's correct? No, I don't. I think Shally should win. He has the best bracket. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you. But listen, that's why people pick teams like Michigan State or Tennessee or teams that no one else picks, because if that team wins, they win it all. They don't have to have a good bracket. Maybe you need to talk to them over the ESPN, over the bracketology, and get them to fix some shit.
All right.
So I think you should be rewarded for picking the overall national champion. I mean, I don't have an issue with that per se. I don't know if there should be maybe that much of a disparity, but I mean, I do think you should get a big bonus for looking at a bracket and out of 64 teams, picking a team that ultimately ends up winning it, though. So I don't have that much of a problem with it.
I think if you pick the exact national champion, like the exact like championship game, you should get like bonus points, right? Like if you have Duke, Florida, you should get bonus points for that. No?
Do we
Cottrell,
all
what are
have
your
Duke,
thoughts on
Florida?
this quadrum?
So I think Cottrell's got the same thing we both do.
Do we all have Duke, Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have Duke over Florida.
Yeah, and I got Florida over Duke. So, I mean, at the end of the day, look, I feel like I should have some more points here. However you cut it. I sucked all the way up until literally the Elite Eight. Now we're at the Final Four. Got 3 of the right 4 here. So we're chugging along here. But with no dog in this race here. I definitely feel like, as you get further, the game should definitely be weighted. But I mean, yes, the championship obviously is the most important, but like 350 points compared to like the first round matchups being 10 points. Like, I feel like that's such a drastic swing. And I mean, I get it. The games are amplified times 100, but at the same time, like, I feel like you do have to have some middle ground. Like the fact that, you have this big lead right now. And if you get both of the same teams, if it's Duke versus Florida, the fact that you'd still be able to win and you're back, what you said, 180 points,
180.
Yeah. Like that's kind of ridiculous. If you have the same exact national.
I agree. It could be a buzzer beater. And like, you're telling me my bracket was better because Cooper Flag hit the buzzer beater? Like, it could be a great game. And Shalley's just like, I think Walter Clayton Jr. hits the buzzer beater. Like, it's not like it could be that close. I don't know. Do you get my point? Do you
100%.
understand?
And I'm with you.
I actually think Shalley should win. Can we declare him winner right now?
Nope. Sure can't.
Shalley, I tried. I don't want to win the bracket. By the way, let's throw up the standings so everybody can see it. I want to go over like the ways people can win. Do you have that part, the group forecast?
I don't have the group forecast.
I got the forecast. I'll read the forecast. First place. Now, by the way, I want to be very clear with this. I don't know 100% of the people in this bracket. I have to verify the Venmo with the person for everybody in this bracket. If someone can tell me who Mark Talon is, because I don't know him, and I don't know if I have the Venmo for him. So if I don't have the Venmo for him, the next person in line is going to win. So I have to make sure that's a qualified bracket. I'm making that very clear on every show. You got Shalley right there chilling in second place. RJ Kaler, who's the biggest college basketball fan I know on the planet. He used the randomizer. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. He used the randomizer. Doesn't watch a cent of it. Then you got Nick Reyes, 20 points ahead of his brother Adrian with the same finals. That's kind of crazy. Like this, that sucks for Adrian. He lost to his brother because in round 1, he might have had Clemson and his brother had McNeese. That's kind of wild. And if Mark Talon doesn't win, it's going to be a Reyes brother if Florida wins. It's wildness that's happening. It's bedlam at the bank. You got tons of different scenarios, but I want to break them down for you. There's the leaderboard for you, but let me break them down. Bob Tierney, right, he's not even listed. He has Duke over Auburn. That happens, Bob Tierney wins. Then this other guy, I'm sorry, I got to read the name right. Mark Vines. He has Houston beating Auburn. If that happens, he wins. That's it. It's over. RJ has Florida over Duke, same as me. I wonder where he got that pick from. I wonder where he got it from. I don't know. Alex Metz has Auburn over Duke. It's a softball player, plays with me. Jeremy Thomas, me and Cottrell both know Jeremy. He has Houston beating Florida. If that happens, Jeremy Thomas wins. And then last but not least, you have Mark Talon again. Same guy. He has 2 brackets in here. Auburn over Houston. He has Auburn over Houston, and he has Florida over – hold on, let me see. Florida over Duke. So Florida wins it all. He wins. So there's a lot of different scenarios to win, but those are the people that have a chance to win. That's it. That's the only people left. Now, let's be honest. If we can't verify Mr. Market Talon's bracket, somebody need to reach out to me. Quick, send me a Venmo. Say you're Market Talon. I don't know. I'm kidding. Don't do that. I will verify the bracket. But We have to figure out. We will verify. We will spot check with the Venmo, and we will pay out a listener $680. Cold hard cash. I said I was up in the 700, didn't I? I'm up in it to $700. Cold hard cash. But that's kind of where we're at. See, Derek said his middle name's Mark. Do you work at Talon? I don't know where Talon is. It's a guy that works at Talon. We got to find him. We got to call Talon tomorrow. I'm going nuts. But the Final Four, look, I'll say this. I was absolutely correct. This is something, once again, I get called out every time I'm wrong about something. I was right about this. The first weekend sucked. It sucked. Was not good. Me and Cottrell talked about it through text about the NIL killing it. Me and Shally talked about at the field, talking about no mid-majors, no 13, 14, 15s. But I said to you guys, I said this next weekend will be much better basketball. And every game was. They were better. Not every game, but the games were incredible. They were good basketball games. And now, look, the people that are complaining about March Madness, I want to say something very clear to you. Do you not want to see Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida as your Final Four teams? Like, look, every one of these teams, Johnny Broom, projected top 5 lottery pick for Auburn. The Auburn team, their average age is like 23 and a half years old. They're the oldest team. They're older than the Oklahoma City Thunder. I want to see that Auburn team play against Duke because Duke's the youngest team left. They got freshmen on top of freshmen with Cooper Flag. Dude, does the 25-year-old body the 18-year-old? I don't know. We got to find that out. Walter Clayton Jr., a man that you might not have known his name before this bracket started. You know him now. The guy has been incredible at hitting baskets down the stretch. We're going to talk about that game in a second. You got Houston or LJ Cryer could win the national championship with 2 different teams. The guy is an absolute stud. Defensively, Houston is physical, in your face. And then you got Duke. Duke's look better than everyone. Cooper Flag, Proctor, Knippel. Knippel. I say the guy's last name wrong. You guys got to help me. I need the pronunciation class. But Knippel, Proctor, Cooper Flag. It's a these games are must-see TV. Now I'm going to stop. We're going to take away the bracket for a minute. What championship game would you most like to watch? I'll start. I'm going Duke versus Auburn. That's the game I want to watch. I want to see if those old souls over there in Auburn, if Bruce Pearl can get 25-year-old college kids to beat the freshmen, the diaper dandies at Duke. That's the game I want to watch. Cottrell, what game would you want to watch the most?
I think for me, it's the one that we all picked already, and that's Florida versus Duke. And I think the reason for that is that Florida was, in my opinion, the most dominant team as we closed and entered the tournament. And Duke has been the most dominant team in the tournament. And I think what makes it interesting to me is that Duke has shown you that they have the ability to take off on a team where, it's a tight game. And the next thing you know, you blink, you go to the bathroom, you come back, Duke's up by 15. And Florida has found themselves in these games where against Texas Tech, against UConn, where they were down, late in games and they just came out of nowhere. And like you mentioned, Walter Clayton, he just hits big shot after big shot. And next thing you know, Florida's up and they go on and win the basketball game. So I would love to be able to see if you can get that kind of matchup and, see if Florida gets down and see what Mark Clayton has as a response to it. I think they match up very well. And Florida is a team that has really won in the tournament off of a style that they did not play really throughout the regular season. They've been turning the ball over a ton throughout this tournament. And so I'd be really interested to see if they'd be able to clean that up against a Duke team and, ultimately see if we get the battle down the stretch of Walter Clayton and Cooper Flag.
Charlie, what game would you most like to watch? I'll talk about the Duke Florida one in a minute because that's the game it seems like America wants to watch. If you say the same, we can just get into that debate now. But what game would you most want to watch?
It's that game. It's that game. And we talked about it briefly last night for a second. I think Florida matches up with Duke in a way that you have to match up with them to be able to beat them. We've already seen, I know it was earlier in the year, we already saw Duke and Auburn play earlier this year. I don't know. I don't know what changes there. I mean, I think Duke, I think Auburn is definitely a better team now, but I think Duke is considerably a better team now than they were at the beginning of the season too. I get back to that Duke Arizona game. The reason I think Florida possesses what Arizona was trying to do in that game to stay with Duke and possibly beat Duke. So that's the matchup. That's the chess match that I want to see the most for sure.
Okay, so as much as I want to see that game, you think Florida matches up well with Duke. I actually think that the other two teams match up a lot better versus Duke than Florida does. I think that Florida would get outclassed in that basketball game. And let me explain to you where my head's at, right? And I could be absolutely wrong. But Florida is absolutely struggling at the free throw line down the stretch if your name isn't Walter Clayton Jr. And what I've noticed from Florida is I've noticed them play they've played games like this all year where they've basically gotten on runs and been able to run teams out of gym, and they definitely can win this. There's no doubt in my mind that Florida can win. But just looking at the road there, Florida has played a game versus Texas Tech that they had no business winning that basketball game. None. They also played a game versus UConn in which I'm not saying that if those two offensive rebounds don't go their way, they go to Florida. I don't think Florida wins that game. I don't think Florida's playing their best basketball. And if your name's not Walter Clayton Jr., I think the moment it just feels like it's too big for a lot of those kids on that team. Like when I look at Florida, Thomas Hall coming off the bench and going nuts from three was huge for Florida. But like guys that they relied on all year have not played great in this tournament. So I'm not saying that. I just think that's the worst matchup. I think that the youth matchup of the young Duke team versus the old Auburn team is the one that is most intriguing to me.
I mean, I can understand what you're saying with that, but I think we also kind of got to look at it from the flip side of that is you look at this Auburn team and, I know you guys watched the game, but Janai Broome is not healthy. Shoulder is going to be a big question mark. He tweaked it in that game. He was really fearful of it. And I mean, of course he's going to play, he's going to tough it out. But if he's not 100%, then, we got to keep going into these matchups thinking, what if, what if he plays, what happens then? And, really go from there. I don't know if I necessarily want to see that because without him, I don't really have that much interest in watching that Auburn team play. They're still a good team. Don't get me wrong. They still have the size. Like I still think they'd be able to compete. Like Bruce Pearl's got all those guys to buy in, and a lot of them have been there for a while. I mean, you talk about the age of them, but as far as just them being Auburn Tigers, like they've been there. Like Janai Broome's been there. The other big that plays next to him, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, but like he's been there. So I think
talking about Dylan Cardwell.
Yes, Caldwell is the one I was talking about. He's been there the entire time. So I think that part is important. And if I get both teams at their best, I'm hearing what you're saying. But if I'm being 100% honest, like I don't think Janai Broome is going to be 100% healthy in this upcoming game against Florida. And I think, these games are going to be physical. And so I just have a lot of question marks there.
I mean, you got four number ones. You have arguably the best four teams in the entire country playing against each other this weekend. And the argument for five, all that's gone, right? The argument for five, like who was fifth? Was it Tennessee? Was it St. John's? Like who was it this year? All those teams got decisively beaten. So these are the four best teams in the country. You have them playing against each other. I think the style of Houston versus Duke is going to be very interesting. I think you'll know 10 minutes into that game if Duke's got a lot of issues in that basketball game or not. Whether or not they allow them to get Clemson physical, whether they allow them to really, because I'll tell you right now, and Charlie, once again, second time, one show, giving you credit. You said before the tournament started, when we got to the Houston-Tennessee game, you said you originally picked Tennessee in your bracket because you didn't want to have all number ones. And then you said, I looked at the matchup, and I think that the length at the guard position for Houston will give problems to Tennessee's big two guards. And that's exactly what they did. Houston absolutely wiped the floor with Tennessee. It was a non-competitive basketball game, and nothing against Tennessee. I obviously they've been my darling. I love me some Zakai Ziegler. I love me some Chaz Lanier. But this is the second year, and nothing against Zakai. I'm sorry, I don't want to be this way, but this is the second year. I remember the game when Dalton Connect went off. Zakai Ziegler was just not present. Big physical guards give him so much problems, and you just couldn't overcome Chaz Lanier having that rough start. Like, he came on late, he had a 3 late, but it just was way too much. They were down 20 at the half, and they never really clawed into that lead.
No, so I mean, I think Houston is. I agree with you about your 10-minute comment. I think that's 100% spot on because Houston's going to run that 3-guard offense with the 3 bigger guys. I'm curious to see how Duke counters it and obviously what they do with Proctor, McNeepel, and then obviously how they use Cooper. That's going to be kind of a cat and mouse game, I think. I think on offense for Houston, I think it's a big advantage. On defense, I think it's an advantage for them outside, but I think Duke is going to eat on the inside.
Yep.
I think they'll keep Cooper down. And with the other 2 bigs, they rotate in and out. I think they have a chance to dominate on the glass. That, like I said, that's going to be a very give and take kind of, cat and mouse type game matchup, between Sampson and Schreier. So that game, I think, I'll be honest, I think everybody is highlighting the other one. And obviously they've already played twice and they've both been really good games. I am more excited to watch the Houston Duke game to see how it plays out. Because I think Houston is just as physical. I've said this before. I think as a whole, the whole tournament, the refereeing across the board, I think it's been really consistent in letting the kids play.
Yeah. But
there's a lot of hand checking. There's a lot of grabbing. I hope they don't change it because both teams do it. So if you're going to let them both do it, let them play and let's see what happens. So I hope there's no change in that philosophy, the way they're calling games. And like I said, I'm really curious to see how Houston's going to match up with Duke. I think a lot of people are, I don't want to say split. I think the consensus is Florida's going to win, but a lot of people have Auburn. I feel like everybody thinks Duke is walking through Houston to the finals, and it's just a given they're going to win.
Oh.
I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm not saying we do. I'm just saying, like we were talking about it today in the office. Like everybody's like, well, Duke's going to play the winner of that really good game. Like it's everybody has this foregone conclusion that Duke's just going to walk into the final. And I don't think that's going to be the case. Not saying they lose. I think that's going to be a hell of a basketball game.
I do have another question for you guys. After watching this tournament, do you guys still feel like Cooper Flagg is both? 2 questions. Is he the best player, best college prospect? And is he the best player in college basketball? So, they could be 2 different things, right? Like, you could be a pro prospect but not be the best player in the country. Like, I think Kemba Walker was the best player in the country the year he came out, like, in college basketball. He wasn't the best prospect coming out. Like, that's what I mean when I say that. Do you still think Cooper Flagg develops as the best player out of this college class? And do you think he's been the best player in the country?
For me, I say yes, but I think this tournament run kind of highlighted that. Not even that he's done like anything crazy. Well, his last game, he had a great game in the Elite Eight. But before that, it wasn't necessarily that he was doing anything crazy, but I like Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. I think he's going to be really good. But Cooper Flagg is not only shown you from the college standpoint that he's ready. You don't often see freshmen be the guy on their team and lead you to the Final Four, lead you to a national championship. So he's got that under his belt. He was on the USA select team where he was playing against all the best in the world, and everybody there said he was holding his own. He was going at AD, he was going at Bam, he was going at LeBron. Like, so he has all these things already behind him. So I do think he is the best prospect. As far as best player in the country, I think it's probably him. But if I'm going off this tournament, I think Janai Broome has probably had the best tournament. Because, I mean, you can just tell, like, that Auburn team looked so different after he left the basketball game. And then he comes back, he hits a three, and he's just playing spot minutes. But just his presence brought such a spark to that team. And, of course, we can talk about Walter Clayton as well and how incredible he's been. But, like, I think Janai Broome would be firmly in that conversation of, you know, best player in the country.
Okay.
Prospect, I'm still going to say yes, and I'll say this in that I think a lot of things that Cottrell just highlighted are all true, and I agree with all of them. I also think with the maturity and leadership he plays with, knowing he's the best player on debatably the best team, he plays with a very level head. He plays. He's very unselfish. He very rarely forces something. He's out there always looking for the best play if it's for him or somebody else. He doesn't run anything outside the offense. I think to be 18 and have that type of spotlight on you and not really going out there every night and worry about getting his. He's just worried about winning and playing good and getting better and making sure that Duke team wins. I think that's very admirable, and I think it's very rare. I mean, I think we've seen it, a million times with kids that are great, but they go out there and, they're kind of worried about doing their own thing. He wants to win, and he plays that way. So prospect-wise, like Cottrell said, he's already played against some of the pros, and they've had nothing but, glaringly good, things to say about him. And like Cottrell said, holding his own. I don't think he's going to be overwhelmed at all next year in the league. So, prospect-wise, I think it's tough to say anybody but him. He's 18. He'll get a little bit stronger when he gets to the league. Another 3 or 4 years down the road, once his body develops, then he really, learns the game to an even higher level. With his skill set, I think he'd be a superstar. In regards to best player, it's hard not to give it to him. I mean, you look at how some of these guys have played in the tournament. Like Cottrell mentioned, we've already mentioned Clayton Jr. And there's been a couple other guys. It's college. I feel like college is tough because it's, I feel like it's even
different
more
game.
It's a different game, and it's. I think you could be I like that you asked it in two parts because I definitely think you can be the best player in college and not be a great NBA prospect.
Tyler Hansborough.
Drew Timmy,
that's what I mean. There's a million of them.
But like the question I would ask you is this, right? And I swear to God, if either one of you guys, because I never heard this from anybody until I came up with it, and I swear to God, if either one of you guys say it, it's going to piss me off. But I'm going to ask you guys first, and because I'm telling you, I don't want you repeating it what I said, but you better not say what I said. It's going to bother me. Who is your NBA comp for Cooper Flag? It's going to really piss me off if either one of you guys say it.
I said this the other day. I think he's a better version of the kid from Butler. I can't remember his name.
Hayward?
Yep.
I think he's better defensively.
I said a better version.
Yeah,
It's going to piss me off.
I don't want to say it because I think it's too high of praise for him, and I think they actually have different skill sets. But he's like a Giannis hybrid.
Okay, fine. Thank God. Thought you were going to listen. You know who he is, and I'm going to tell you exactly who he is, right? And I'm going to give you all the comps. He's not a Giannis hybrid. He's a better version of what Jason Tatum is right now. And I'm not kidding with you. Listen to me. Hear me out when I say it, right? Both went to Duke, both broad shoulders, both very good defensively, both have length, both primarily position is to be able to drive to the basket, both can shoot the basketball from the outside, and he is an underrated athletic defender, which I look at Jason Tatum as the same thing. Jason Tatum and him, their games, and the fact that they went to Duke, the fact that they both have those super broad shoulders coming out of Duke, the fact that they both have that interior game, the fact that they both are very good on the defensive end. I see Jason Tatum when I watch this kid play basketball.
He's not the ISO scorer Jason is. Like, I mean, he gets to the
Jason
basket.
wasn't the ISO scorer he was in college.
Jason was a better shooter in college, though. Like Jason, he 100% was the ISO.
I said he was. He wasn't the ISO scorer. He was not. He was definitely a better shooter. The reason I thought Jason Tatum was going to be a bust coming out of Duke, and I don't know if you remember this, I said Jason Tatum would be a bust. I was dead wrong. I have Josh Jackson in that draft class. I was so on Josh Jackson. But the reason I said he was a bust is because he looked like a stand in the corner, shoot three kid in college. He 100% a better ISO player now than he was when he played in college.
I mean, of course. I mean, you develop over the years there, but I say Giannis because I think he's obviously a better shooter than he's already a better shooter than what Giannis is. But I say that because he can literally get the ball. He's gonna probably play the 3 or 4 at the next level. Get the ball off rebound. He can go coast to coast. He can put the team on his back. He can lead in points. He can lead in rebounds. He can be your best defender. And he can be like your franchise guy like that. I still think his ISO game is a little clunky, which is why I say Giannis. Because I mean, even though Giannis can get whatever shot he wants to, I think his ISO game is clunky. But you can get away with that when you're 6'9" and you are a great athlete, and you know what your spots are.
He's 1 inch taller and 4 pounds lighter than what Tatum is right now. Like, I absolutely think Cooper Flagg is Jason Tatum. And I think he'll be better than him at the next level. See, this is what – and listen, Derek, I don't mean to be this guy. But – and Shally did it too. You know exactly what I'm about to say, right?
I do.
Mine is
white.
nothing.
We don't have to compare him to a white guy. We don't have to do that.
Mine has nothing to do with that. Mine has nothing to do with that.
I'm sure it doesn't. But my point being is, like, this is the generic white comment. He's not good at defense. He's great at defense. They're not athletic. He's actually sneaky athletic the way he gets across the court.
I wouldn't even say sneaky. He's a good athlete.
Yes, correct. My point being is that the white people stigma doesn't fit Cooper Flagg. And I was watching, and the reason I thought about this is there's a TikTok video I was watching of a guy that just wanted to hate on Cooper Flagg. He's like, yeah, I hope he would have been great in the 80s or 90s, but his game doesn't translate to this day's NBA. He's not athletic enough. He's not going to be good defensively. And like, he's not going to be able to get into the paint the way he does in college level. Okay, maybe that point. I think Cooper Flagg is going to be a great NBA player. Not a good one, a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Jay Billis talk about him, and he said if he has the career arc of Kevin Love, it would probably be considered a failure. And I was like, that's kind of wild because Kevin Love is going to be a Hall of Fame. I know NBA Hall of Fame doesn't matter as much, but like,
no, bro, the career arc of who?
No. They weren't comparing them. They weren't comparing them to. They were saying like if he has like, you know, he ends with, I don't even know what Kevin's numbers are, but like 20,000 points. He's a career 20 and 10 guy. Like that's a disappointment for him. They weren't saying he plays like Kevin.
I feel like if we did this in like hockey,
well, it's because not everybody thinks he's going to score 30 points a game in the NBA.
No,
they're entitled to their opinions. It is though. Like again, to Control's point, if he's saying Kevin Love's numbers, using that as like he knows what Kevin Love's numbers are off the top of his head, he's not saying he's going to play like white Kevin Love in the NBA. He's saying if he gets to all those milestones and still gets in the Hall of Fame, he would still think he underperformed. That's not a bad opinion to have. He's actually saying he's better than that. That's how I would interpret that. Am I wrong?
No, what I'm saying is why does the comp have to be a white guy? I feel like if we did this in hockey and we were like, oh, yeah, like this young black hockey player, yeah, it really reminds me of Donald Brashear. Like, that's just like, why? Why are we doing that? Like, it doesn't, like, he's not the stigma. And that's all I'm trying to say is we don't have to compare just because he's white. We don't have to be like his comp is a white guy is what I mean.
I mean, I think he's a Hall of Famer. That if that's the point. I mean, we talked about this is either on this show or another show on the network. We're talking about like who we thought would be like the top 5 players, 5 years from now.
Yeah. And
Cooper Flagg was always one of the guys who, I said I thought would be in that top 5. Or even when we were having the conversation, matter of fact, we were having the conversation about, 4 years from now when they do the Olympic team, like who's going to be on that team. I'm pretty sure all 3 of us said Cooper Flagg was going to be on that team.
Yeah. All right, guys. Nothing's changing, right? You guys both have Florida over Duke. I have Duke over Florida.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We'll stick there, and we will have a fun Final Four. 4 great basketball teams, the 4 best basketball teams in the country. We will have a winner declared on Monday. You probably aren't going to get your money until Friday, though. I'll be in Mexico next week. Sorry. Not Venmoing from Mexico. Leave me alone.
Statistically, this is set up to be the best Final Four of all time. First time you've had 4 all-time, like Kim Palm, like top 10 teams. Like all 4 of these teams are in the Kim Palm, like how the numbers break down. Yeah. All 4 of them are in the all-time top 10 list. So should be set up for one of the best ones we've ever seen.
I can't wait. Looking forward to it. We did have something else happen this past week. Since our last show, last Thursday, till now. And by the way, it's not really opening day because now we have a series that happens like 2 weeks before Major League Baseball season started. Thanks a lot.
Opening day.
Yeah, exactly. Opening day was last Thursday. That's what opening day was. I don't care that there was another series that counted. There were still preseason games being played, and the Dodgers were playing overseas and winning baseball games. Get the hell out of here. It's not opening day. Stop that goddamn series. Get it out of here.
Money grab.
Yeah, well, opening day happened this past Thursday. And we have our outfielders list. I'd like to go through the outfielders first, and then we'll give our year predictions and talk about some opening day Major League Baseball. I'm interested how this list plays out. You have the 10 through 6 first?
Absolutely. Okay.
Oh, Shalvey. That's a very good one. Throwing Riley Green in there. I like that. Okay. Whoa, Cottrell. Kyle Tucker, a little low, my friend. Little low.
That's how I feel about Ronald Acuna Jr. on your list.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is not going to play baseball until June. So we're talking about a projections list for this year. He's going to miss the first 2 months of the season. Hey, when he comes back, they might be 0-30. The Braves can't win. So I think Kyle Tucker's very, very low on your list. But
yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that after he's got 4 home runs so far. I'm sure he probably wouldn't have been as high as he was if we started this list last week, but that's okay.
Absolutely would have been. I had him anything. And by the way, and I'll say this:
you said Braves can't win a game. You've already. I mean, you gave it. It's all right.
Well, no, the Acuna thing was 100% since he's out until June. So that's why Acuna is as low as he is on my list. But I will say this: I do really genuinely, with love and support, that you guys have your yearly. I'm wrong about Mike Trout on the top 10 list. I appreciate that, and here he is again. No response. I'm just gonna let that one go.
I mean, what do you want us to say?
Well,
I mean, I'm not going to project it. I'm not going to project an injury. So
when it happens every year,
happened the last 3 years. The 7 years before that didn't happen at all.
Well, he's kind of falling apart. I feel bad for the kid.
I mean, run today. So I mean,
good for
5 RBIs his last 3 games. I think he'll be fine.
How'd they do that? They won, right?
No, they lost. They lost to St. Louis 12-5.
Hey, listen, I like the home run. The 143 batting average is really kicking ass too.
I get it. Again, if you watch the game today, you'd have a different feeling about it. Hit a ball 420 to dead center, knocked the second baseman over the line drive, lined out the center, and lined out the third. Every ball he hit today was over 104 miles an hour. So I'm really not that concerned what his stats are 4 games into the season.
I just hope he plays more than 70 games this year.
And I'll tell you, and again, and if he does, it's going to be. I mean, I know he's not in your top 5, so if he does and he hits 45 home runs and puts up 100 RBIs, it's going to be a very glaring omission from your list.
Anything stand out to you guys? I've given you guys both shit to talk about, so you might as well go ahead and take shots at my list.
The one thing I noticed, which I love, is that we all have young kids that had great years last year that we're all going to, I think we all project. I mean, some of us project different ones, do different things, but, Langford, Merle, Duran, we all have Churio, all those, that whole group of kids coming up that we all have some of them sprinkled in here, I think is a very good sign that we know what the hell we're talking about.
There's the one young kid that seems to be an omission from your list, though. I'm kind of curious of what Corbett Carroll either did or didn't do to not deserve a spot here.
He was like 11. I think some of these kids, if I was going to take anybody out, I went back and forth with it, to be honest, like a million times. I really wanted to take Julio off this list completely. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Funny you say that, because Adrian said he's the most overrated player in baseball.
I literally had the same discussion with Billy Cunningham the last 2 days, and I almost took him off and put Carroll back in. I just said Carroll's going to, I don't think he's going to have a bad year at all. Don't get me wrong. And again, if G not having Trout, like if there's one that's going to burn me, it's probably not going to have a Corbin Carroll on my list. But I think he's going to level out a little bit, and not that people have kind of learned how to pitch to him per se. I just think he's going to get a little bit more love this year. I just don't think he's going to see the pitches he's seen the last 2 years. Because I think they're going to make somebody else beat him. That's all. Did you guys see the contract that Jackson Merrill signed?
Yes.
Genius from San Diego.
Yes, it is.
As long as he continues to do what he's supposed to do.
Why would his agent allow that?
I mean, if he wants to get paid now, I mean, listen, I'll tell you something right now. Some of these kids that come in, they don't make anything until
I get it, but I mean, I think if you hold out 1, maybe 2 years, I mean, you're looking at triple the contract.
Well, he made $740,000 last year. He made $809,000 this year. Right now, he can fix his family's life forever.
It's generation. So that's what I mean. He could go get an injury next week that he never plays baseball again, and they owe him $200 million. It's the short-term security, versus the long-term gamble. And here's the other thing you got to remember. If he goes mashes the ball for the next 4 or 5 years, San Diego will do exactly what LA did with Trout. They'll pick up his contract in the middle of it. They'll renegotiate the extension. They'll tear it up and then add more years on the end, and his money will go up. San Diego, like I said, it's brilliant for San Diego.
Oh, for sure.
And because that's pretty much going to guarantee they have him for at least 4 or 5 years. And you never know, man. I mean, again, we've seen plenty of rookies have great rookie years, and then people make adjustments, and they never quite get back there. It happens all the time in baseball. So
what about Scott Kingery's contract?
I was just going to say, if you want the proof why you take the money, Scott Kingery is the reason. Scott Kingery is now out of baseball. He is out of professional baseball.
I 100% get it from that standpoint. I just think, and this is probably a bad example because of the injury history, but when Acuna signed his contract, we were all like, this is going to be a bargain for the Braves. And obviously he's when healthy and when he's playing, he's outperformed that contract. Now, of course, the question marks with the health and things like that, you're looking at it like this is probably a good deal for both sides here. But I mean, 3-4 years from now, I don't think it's crazy to think Jackson's can be in the top 5, top 4 outfielders in all of baseball. And we're looking at how is this kid getting $15 million a year?
But again, that's when they can revisit it. They ask the Braves right now with the way it's gone the last couple of years, would they rather be paying Acuna $25 million right now or $45 million? Because those were their options. And
I'll say this right now. Jackson Merrill is a 21-year-old kid that came up in Baltimore. That's generational money for him, his family. I don't know if I'd be able to wait 4 years or 3 years to be able to take care of my mom. I don't know his family situation. I'll say this. I get your point, and would he have got more if he held out? Absolutely. But you got to find someone that's willing to invest that type of money to fix your family's life now. If maybe put an insurance policy out on yourself. But yeah, I get it. I understand it. It's a smart move by San Diego.
100%.
A lot can happen in 4 years. And like you said, if he continues on the trajectory that he showed last year and continues to play that way in 4 or 5 years, like I said, it's happened so many times. They'll revisit it and he'll get a raise. Like they're not gonna, it's obviously somebody they want to build around. Machado, I think only has like a year or two left. The future of that team is going to be is Merrill and Tatis Jr. So I think to Gene's point, and again, if somebody's offering me $200 million, and I know that's worst case scenario, what I'm doing the rest of my life, I'm going to be okay. And also you got to remember, it takes a lot of pressure off kids. Like it takes a lot of pressure off. To Gene's point, coming up, like, all right, I'm only making $800,000 again in this year, and I got to go put up crazy numbers again to try to make these people pay me more. Like he is all that off his shoulders now. He can just go out and play baseball now. His family, everybody's taken care of. Like I said, unless he's an idiot with it, taken care of for the next 2 generations. And if he does what he's supposed to do, then he'll make another $200 million on top of what he's making now. So he'll be fine. I think it's a good deal for both sides. If you're a San Diego Padres fan, like I said, you got to be pretty happy that the 2, youngest, best players on their team are now tied up for the very foreseeable future.
All right, let's get into our top 5.
All right, so number 5 for me, I got Julio Rodriguez, and you guys, Bill, I saw he was number 8 on your list. Gene, you said you were talking with Adrian about him being an overrated player, and look, after the season that he had last year, and really the trajectory that he was on, I can understand where that's coming from. But I just can't forget what I saw in 2023, and the fact this kid is 24 years old and really in the prime of his career, I just feel like there has to be that next step that gets taken. And I thought it was going to be last year. I look back at our MVP list from last year, and I thought he was going to be in the conversation. Well, I had him winning the AL MVP, and that was far from happening. I think he has to take a step this year. I think this is the year where you see him get back to 30-plus home runs, 100-plus RBIs, and really show that he is the leader of this Mariners team and, put them on track to where they want to go. So I got Julio Rodriguez having the breakout year, getting back to form from what we saw in 2023 and being a top 5 outfielder in baseball.
I'm going Kyle Tucker. I touched on Julio a little bit before. It just makes me weary. But that being said, I'm going with Tucker. Change of scenery, going to Chicago. They were very aggressive in going to get him. They wanted to be a cornerstone of kind of the rebuild and, kind of putting that team back on the top of the Central Division. Very good hitter, very underrated. One of the best left-handed swings in the game. We saw it firsthand 2 years ago in the World Series. We could not get the guy out if it just didn't matter. We put lefties on the mound throwing 100 miles an hour, and he would hit the ball in the stands. It was crazy. When the dude is on, he is one of the tougher people in all of baseball to get out. Good teammate, underrated defensively. Playing right field during the day in Chicago with winds and the sun is going to be a little bit more tricky than playing in the Dome in Houston all the time. But again, a very good defender, a really good hitter, and a guy that, if I'm being quite honest, doesn't get the press that he should probably get because he's just as good as almost all these guys in front of him. So I got Kyle Tucker, number 5.
Yeah, I got Julio Rodriguez, number 5. I think that, I think he has a bounce back year also. The only thing that stands out to me is that Mariners lineup. He really has no real protection in that lineup. Their overall team, I think he's super talented, and I would love for him to get out of Seattle. That's not going to happen. But I think he's so talented and such a good player. It's tough for me not to have him in my top 5. I don't know if I could justify saying that I get a whole year of Julio Rodriguez versus a shortened year coming off an injury of a Ronald Acuna Jr. I have Julio Rodriguez, number 5 there. My number 4 is Fernando Tatis Jr. I struggle not putting him 3, but I really, and I'll obviously get into that a little bit more when I get to my number 3. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is an all-world talent. The guy is a very, very good baseball player. He rakes. He has found the home in the outfield for the Padres. They're 7-0 to start the year. He is one of the big reasons. He's batting over 400 this year. The guy rakes. Incredible ball player. It's tough for me not to have him 3. I think there's a bigger gap, obviously, from 4 to 5 than there is from 3 to 4 to me. I have Fernando Tatis number 4, but he easily could be in my top 3. Just top 3 I have. One of them I'm projecting an all-world season, even better than what he's shown in the last few years. And the other 2 are the best 2 players in baseball.
I got Tatis Jr. number 4 as well. Again, talent always been there. Attitude, maybe sometimes not. There is the PED suspension, all that in the past. But he seemed to have rebounded. And the good thing for him is he had a really good year last year. I think he got tested 3 or 4 times, all clean. So it does lay a really good groundwork for him to move forward and keep putting up numbers and really have that stigma per se kind of diminish as time goes on, hopefully. But I think, I think you really saw a more mature, grounded Tatis last year, which was a good thing for him. I think the suspension kind of, really kind of, I would say, lack of a better term, kind of made open his eyes to certain things. And I think he's taking baseball a little bit more serious. Guy's a freak athlete. He's another one of those Mookie Betts guys. He can play infield. He can play outfield. And he's another one. Not a guy you want in the box if you need an out for your baseball team. Very hard guy to get out, can hit the ball to all fields with power, fast, just really, really good. And again, having him at 4 is no disservice to him. I just think the 3 guys in front of him are better. That's all.
Number 4 for me, I got Ronald Acuna Jr. From Atlanta. Again, similar to the same kind of trend that we've had with every Brave that we've had on our list so far. It feels like all of them were hurt last year. Obviously, Acuna's still coming back from his injury from last year, but I think he's going to be back in May. And, even with a shortened year, he's still going to have the numbers that rival everybody else. I mean, he's just that talented. And, when he's playing a full season, he's going to be right there in the thick of it for MVP. So for me, I think Acuna Jr. doesn't miss too much time where his numbers are that far off from everyone else. Of course, everyone else is getting a head start, but I think he has more than enough talent to make up for it. And, I think he's a guy that could be right there, in our top 2, top 3 again next year, depending on how well he plays this upcoming season. But number 3 for me, I got Fernando Tatis, and the reason why I have him here is because of, I think he has the same, caliber talent. Like, he can be the face of like that Padres team. Obviously, he already is like a franchise player there, but just seeing what he did even in the playoffs last year. I mean, obviously, kid's still young. You talk about him finding a home out there in the outfield, and absolutely what he can do at the plate. I think he's a kid that's playing with a ton of confidence now. You talk about the suspension in the past. I think he was playing confident before that, but then there was this weird kind of vibe going around that Padres team where it was like, all right, do we have to, break this all up and start over after we've underwhelmed? We paid all these guys. Now we're underwhelming. But last year they figured it out and they turned that corner. And I think Tatis Jr. was a big reason why, not just with his play, but just a shift in attitude there. So I think he builds off that, and I think he's going to come out and be the 3rd best outfielder in baseball.
I'm going with Acuna Jr. I'm probably a little bit biased because I get to see him so much more than I see like a Tatis, for instance. But the guy's an absolute menace on the baseball field if he's not on your team. He can do everything. Great defender, great arm, hits for power, hits for average, can steal bases. Bitten a little bit recently by the injury bug the last couple of years, kind of on that same, bad luck is, kind of Trout, the thing that he's on right now. But I think he stays healthy this year. He's already killing the ball, extended spring training, live batting practice. He's just, I think he's going to be back sooner than later. I think he's going to get cleared. I don't think they're going to be able to keep him off the field till June. And if they continue to keep losing ball games, I think that's going to push it up even more. But that being said, he is one of the top 4 or 5 players in baseball, in my opinion. When he's healthy, all around, he can do everything. Like I said, he's a lead at everything. I hate what he does to us, but he's the real deal. He's 3 for me. Again, Gene kind of mentioned it before, just because the top 2 guys are all world players. But Ronald Acuna Jr. is just an incredible baseball player.
Number 3 for me is Kyle Tucker, and I think that we're kind of underselling what Chicago is going to mean for him. Small ballpark in Chicago. They play in the same division as Cincinnati, which is a friggin' launching pad. I think that Kyle Tucker with NL Central pitching, playing in a small ballpark for half his games, being a lefty that's coming literally just barrels the ball at an ungodly rate. Listen, there's a lot of things you could be sure of in an MLB season. And if Kyle Tucker stays healthy, it's 100 RBIs, it's 30 home runs, and it's a 290 batting average. And that's incredible to say the least. Shally touched on earlier. He's a way better defender than anyone gives him credit for. Got an outstanding arm. I think Kyle Tucker is in line for a breakout season, and I think he'll absolutely be on the MVP ballot. I don't think he's going to be the National League MVP, but I think he'll absolutely be in that conversation. I have him number 3. Number 2, I have Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto's, you guys hear this from me all the time, I think he's the best pure hitter in baseball. The way his eye is at the plate, his OBP, being able to get on base. I think Juan Soto is a clutch postseason performer. You've seen him last year. I think he is the best pure hitter in baseball. I have him number 2 because I think he's going to have a little bit tougher time. Just like I said, change the scenery, right? Change the division. Being in Citi Field versus Yankee Stadium is an absolute difference for a ball player. Change the scenery, being in the NL East as opposed to the AL East when it comes to pitching, is an absolute change of scenery. Now, Juan Soto's played the NL East before, but not this NL East. Not the NL East where you're going to have to go against the Braves and the Phillies for 18 games apiece. I have Juan Soto 2, and that's no slight on him. He's still one of the best players in baseball.
I agree. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said. He's the best probably pure hitter in baseball right now. Maybe even since – nope, just kidding. Not going to say it is the dude's a freak, though. He does have one of the best eyes in recent memory that I can remember. When he is on and he's really dialed in and seeing the ball well, he's literally almost impossible to strike out. That being said, though, Gene nailed a couple things that I had written down on my list here. Obviously, the NL East pitching is going to be drastically better than it was when he was at Washington. Playing in that bigger ballpark, having his money, kind of being the big shot in New York. You know, we saw. I mean, it took Frankie Lindor 2.5 seasons to kind of get used to it. I know he was a little bit used to it with the Yankees, but that being said, that's Aaron Judge's team. That wasn't his team. I think he will lose a couple home runs just on the ballpark alone. Citi Field is massive compared to freaking Yankee Stadium. And he's.
You think you could fit 2 Yankee stadiums into Citi Field? I'm kidding. What's up?
It's going to be a little bit of adjustment, and again, that lineup is, while dangerous, it is not constructed the same way the Yankees lineup was, and and having the old Aaron Judge, protection thing there. So he is by far good enough to overcome it. I completely expect him to. That's why he's number 2 on my list. Like Gene said, it's no slight or anything like that. But, the guy, I think, unfortunately, for Phillies fans, I think he has a massive year for the Mets this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I have him number 2 here as well. And, you guys both make a ton of great points with him. And, I feel like there's really not much more to add, right? You can talk about him being over with the Mets and that being the reason why. I think for me, the biggest thing is just moving over right into who's number 1. Aaron Judge is just on another atmosphere right now. I mean, 58 home runs last year, 144 RBIs, and just what he's been able to do. I mean, 322 average last year. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, we could talk about the ballpark all we want. So I know that adds definitely some home runs to his list, and his numbers are inflated there. But Aaron Judge has, you know, fine-tuned his game. He had issues with the strikeouts before, but he's got it all together. They're talking about the bats and stuff like that right now. Aaron's like, I don't even need the torpedo bats. I'm good with where I'm at. And he's launching nukes, it feels like, every night. Aaron Judge is a bad man. And really, the only other person that probably you don't want to see more at the plate at this point is probably Ohtani. And I think even given the night, you know, if Aaron Judge has it rolling, as great as Juan Soto is, Aaron Judge is just on it. He's just up there by himself. Juan Soto's right there, but just the way the consistency, the numbers, the power, everything with him, Aaron Judge had to be number one on my list.
I'm going to push back slightly on this, only in that I think Aaron Judge remains number one on my list because of the totality of what he does. I would say night in, night out. I mean, we've seen this the last couple of years. When he is completely locked in, he might be the hardest guy to pitch to. He is not slump proof, though. I would say Ohtani and Soto, I think, are a little bit more consistent across the board. It's just that if Judge is red hot, I feel like that spike is probably a little bit higher than Soto and Ohtani. But you know, we've seen him go 3 weeks without getting a hit. So I mean, but again, that's baseball. I mean, that's
the thing, though. Like, that is like the thing right there. You go, like you said, like 3 weeks without getting hit, and you still end the year over 320 average. Like, that's
control. You had your damn turn. You had your turn. I was literally waiting to spike the volleyball. He laid it off. I was right. He literally had the worst April of all time, and then came back and had 58 home runs and batted 322.
And like I said, he's number one on my list. I'll use the word again because the totality of what he does. His numbers are going to be what they are going to be at the end of the year. The dude's a machine. He's going back to right field this year, which I think actually keeps him a little bit more fresh and you know, a little bit more burden off his legs. So, and he's still hitting that small ass park. So, dude's huge. Just an absolute. You know, the funny thing is too, like, it was talking about it today, like, I don't remember of a Yankee. Like, I don't hate Aaron Judge at all, but like most times, like, I hate most Yankees, and I find some reason he doesn't bother me for some reason. I think he's just, I don't know why. I think he's just a good dude who plays baseball, and he doesn't have that Yankee, like, cocky, like, I don't know. It's everything I hate about the Yankees. He doesn't have it. So he ranks number one on my list.
The first 25 games of Aaron Judge's season last year, he was batting 190 with 3 home runs. He finished with 58 home runs and batted 322. The amount of plate this man covers and the amount of power, he misses balls that go out. And that's a little bit of a combination of the fact that Yankee Stadium is a joke and the fact that he's a monster. You know, I'll give you a fun softball comparison. There's a lot of guys that are so strong that they miss balls and they go over the fence. Whereas someone like me, who's not as strong as some of these guys, I got to get every piece of it to get it over that fence. Aaron Judge is one of those guys that can absolutely miss a ball and it goes over the fence. That's how good he is. You can not like the Yankees 7, but whatever. I'm not a big Yankees fan to begin with. But Aaron Judge is a great hitter, and this isn't the postseason. This is Major League regular season. We'll see what he does this year in the postseason. But my projections for the season, give me Aaron Judge at 1. We're 5 minutes late, boys. We got to get into trivia, and then we'll get into our MLB awards and our projections. We got our safeties list tonight. We got a lot to get into, but it is trivia time.
And I got a good one for you. This week, gents. A little bit tough. Got to know your history a little bit with this one.
Why do you always get to do history with Shally?
It's not that kind of. It's not that kind of history. It's not that kind of history.
I'm
But-
mentally fried right now.
Because this is the last week we're going to be dealing with college basketball, I had to go
God.
back to college basketball. So we have top 10 most wins in college basketball without, well, not in college basketball, top 10 wins in the NCAA tournament without making a Final Four.
What?
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's gonna take forever, dude.
Top 10 wins in the NCAA
Without
tournament
making so
without
most wins
making
in
a
the
Final
tournament
Four.
without making a Final Four?
Correct.
Oh God, I don't even know where to
You got
start.
you got some heavy hitters on this list. So you guys will be fine.
I don't.
I'm just eliminating like 40 colleges like in my head already.
There you go.
Yeah, but I don't know if I have 10 more that make any sense. Jesus Christ.
This is a terrible question. Sorry, it's a terrible one.
Oh Christ. I'll go Miami.
Miami is not on the list.
The only one that was a dead giveaway, Shally, and you completely missed it, is UT because they said it during their broadcast 3 times.
Oh,
Tennessee's one of the ones that's on this list.
Tennessee is number 1. Well, tied for number 1. 31 wins.
They just said it on their broadcast multiple times. I have one more like logical guess, and then I'm out.
I mean, there are some big teams here.
You could say big teams, but I don't know if it's fine.
Teams that are in the tournament. Like year in, year out.
Okay. I'll guess.
I'll go with St. Mary's.
St. Mary's is not on the list.
The only other guess I have is because they had such runs and they made it to the Elite 8 twice, is St. Joseph's because of Jameer Nelson and Delonte West.
St. Joseph's is number 8 on the list with 20 wins.
I know they never made the Final Four because I cried the year Jameer Nelson and Delonte West lost in the Elite 8 when they were the overall number 1 seed. They were undefeated during the whole season and then lost in the A10 tournament by like 30 points. Like, they shouldn't be a 1. I'm like, are you guys out of your mind?
Big country, Bryant Reeves.
Gene said it's a terrible question and just gets 2 right off the bat.
That's all I have.
You see how he's fooling you, Bill? You see how he's fooling you?
There's no fooling.
I'll go Florida State.
Check the list here. Florida State is not on the list.
No, Gonzaga made it when the Jalen Suggs 3. Jesus. Oh, is Princeton on the list?
That's probably one too.
Princeton
might have made a Final Four.
Princeton is not on the list.
They must have made
I
a
bet
Final
you
Four.
they probably did back in like the 50s.
I'm just thinking the Ivy League schools that get in and get a couple wins.
Yeah, it's pretty much usually the same 3.
Princeton, Penn, Yale. That's it.
All right. Whenever you guys want the hints to start, you let me know.
Whenever. Yes, now.
All right.
I'll go.
Okay.
All
All right.
I want him.
You want the hint now or no?
No, we'll go one more round. I'll go Marquette.
Marquette is not on the list.
This question fucking sucks.
I have no idea.
I'm going all mid majors. I'm done.
The funny thing is,
Well,
I had a backup question too.
Well,
Was it better than this one?
You guys would have probably thought that one was hard too.
Well,
I
all
hope
I'm
I.
thinking of,
Oh, we're gonna have trivia next week. Shit. You're stalling. Pick something that's wrong because we don't know the answer to this question.
BYU.
BYU is tied for number 1.
Is that real?
With 31 wins.
That's what I'm thinking of, like white. Never mind. I shouldn't say that out loud.
Jesus, racist.
Sorry, I just don't think that.
All right, so we want the hints now.
How many are left? Is this almost over?
You got 7 left.
7 left. It's 3-0, Chow.
Mid-major. I'm going all mid-majors. I'm sticking with my strategy.
I like it. I got one. I guess at least.
Actually, not a mid-major. I get Big East now.
I'm not going mid-majors. I got to guess.
Give me Xavier.
Xavier is number 3.
Nice.
29 wins.
I didn't get shut out. It's amazing.
You aren't getting shut out. I think I'm out. I'm gonna guess Providence and hope they didn't make a Final Four.
Providence is not on the list.
I'm just gonna keep picking Big
You get
East
my
teams.
train of thought right now, right? I hope
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
do. I don't think they ever made one. Give me the all whites from Creighton.
Creighton,
there you go.
another one. They are number 5 on the list. 25 tournament wins without making the Final Four. We are 3-2, gentlemen. Question sucks my ass.
It does suck.
Does suck. It's gonna be 8:30 till this is over.
You guys are rolling through this. We got 5 already. We were late on trivia. We got 5 already.
Davidson.
That's a good one.
Steph Curry had 3 himself.
Davidson, they're not on the list, but they were close. They are tied for 20th. Well, 19. Tied for 19.
Tied for 19.
Jesus.
They got 15 tournament wins. I mean, they're one run away from being in the top 10.
I hope you guys are laughing at me.
I'm ready for the hints whenever.
Gotta give one now because
Yes.
my turn.
All right, so you got a school from the SEC
Okay.
in this list. I believe they are in the Mountain. Let's see, Mountain West. I want to say,
Okay.
but I'll get back to them. But you have an SEC school here. You got them. You have an ACC school here. That hint is this school. I don't want to say their conference because you guys won't recognize it, but this school sent someone to the NBA. Like you guessed Davidson earlier, they sent a prominent player to the NBA.
They sent a prominent player to the NBA. I love that.
Somebody from their team got drafted once.
They sent a top five pick to the NBA.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll get there. One's in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Oh God.
Another one is in the Mountain West, so I was right with the Mountain West. And then
I was
see,
right.
the last one here. But you have big conferences left. Like SEC, ACC are still on the table.
Okay.
There.
I'll go. I don't think they made it to the Final Four that year.
And then Conference USA for the last one.
Jesus Christ. I might know that one. We'll go Loyola Chicago.
That's a good
Loyola
one.
Chicago is incorrect. Didn't they make the Final Four like 4 years ago?
They did make the final. I thought it was the Elite Eight.
Same.
SEC team. ACC team. SEC, ACC.
We'll go first to 5 then, since we're not getting anywhere.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is not on the list.
I'll go Georgia.
Georgia's not on the list.
Vanderbilt.
Fuck.
Where's Vanderbilt? They're with Davidson, tied for 19, but they are not in the top 10.
What? You just say no first. Like, yeah, they're there. I'm like, yeah, go on.
I didn't start to say that. I'm like, crap, I'm down 4-2. Who else made it this year from the SEC?
Oh.
I only really remember them being in the tournament one other time. I'll go Mizzou.
Mizzou is here. Mizzou's number 4, 28 wins without making the Final Four.
Who did you guess?
I guess Vanderbilt. And
No, what are the ones we have so far?
You have BYU, you have Xavier, you have Missouri, you have Tennessee, you have Creighton, and you have St. Joseph's. You have the top 5 and number 8.
Was that the last SEC school?
Yes, you have ACC, you have Mountain West, you have Conference USA, and you have the Ohio Valley.
Mountain West.
Is the ACC? No, they made it. No.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get players here in a second. I
hate this. Can I get a player now?
There's so many
UMass.
schools. UMass is not on the list.
I'm thinking like where coaches coached before. I only got there because Calipari and used to coach at UMass, and him and John Cheney.
Bambi.
Wait, did Temple made a final? No.
All right, Bill, it's on you, buddy.
I'll go. I'll go Colorado State.
Colorado State, great guess, not on the list.
I'm going to stay up in the Boston region. Give me Boston College.
Boston College is on the list here.
Go!
Boston College is number. I was just looking up a player for you guys next here, but Boston College is tied for 10 with 18 wins without making the Final Four.
How many are left? 2? 3?
3. There's 3 left.
All right, we're at Chally's turn. Can we give hints? We got players yet?
You guys want hints?
I won every hint. I'm just guessing colleges. And now we have 3 mid-majors, right? There's no big. You told me that 1 ACC, 1 SEC, and then a bunch of crap. Oh, Mountain West. Okay, I know some teams in the Mountain West.
All right, so depending on how you guys want to do it, the one you guys are gonna. I feel like it wouldn't.
Not player if you're gonna give it away now.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like if I give it away, this is a gimme. So I don't know how you guys want to do it. Like, are we just
don't do the gimme? I don't want to gimme because I don't. It's his turn, and I'm up one. I hope he doesn't get another one.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how you guys want to do it.
Don't do a gimme. Figure out a better way to give that hint.
All right. So one school was in the tournament this year.
Okay.
One school, let's see the other one. Their best player was Courtney Lee. Best player ever was Courtney Lee. And the other school, I want to make sure I'm accurate when I say this. I don't think they've been in the tournament since 2019. conferences. So you got Courtney Lee. Another school was in the tournament this year. For what it's worth, their best player or most recent player was Sam Merrill. And actually, I lied. They were actually this last school that has the most popular player. They were most recently in the tournament in 2022.
I go Boise State.
Boise State is not on the list.
Did Dane go to Weber State?
That he did.
I'm going to go Weber State.
They are not on the list here.
Okay. That's where my head went when you said player.
You said we have Big West or Mountain West.
Mountain West, Conference USA, and Ohio
Conference
Valley.
USA. I know a couple Conference USA teams.
We say Conference USA and what?
Conference USA, Mountain West, Ohio Valley Conference.
Oh, no, they made the finals, though. I was about to guess. Never mind. Not my turn. Maybe Shally will guess it and not think about it.
Who's Cincinnati?
Cincinnati is not on the list. Oh, what if I'll wait for you to go, but I think I got a way to.
Why does he always get the hint?
It's your turn. What are you talking about?
I know, but he wait for me to go, and then he gets a hint, and he gets a free crack at it, and then I got to wait.
No, I'm going to give. I feel like it would be fair to give you guys at a point because we've spent some time on this question now. I feel like we need to open up the forum.
Cool.
So
Let's open it up. I'm ready.
Well, it's your turn. You got to give me a guess first.
And then we're going to open the forum up?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me team made the tournament this year. Who made the tournament this year? Did they win a game?
I don't know. Did they?
He said Colorado State. They were a mid-major that won a game. Wouldn't be them. Anybody give a good game? Oh, no. They just started making the tournament recently. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out teams that were 12 through 16s at this point. No. Oh, our favorite team. Why am I forgetting the name of the team? This team we talked about. We're definitely going to win a game. They won 30 games. We talked about them on the show multiple times. What's the name of the team? You guys know the team I'm talking about. Probably them too.
Then I'll give you some football guys too.
Okay.
After we open it up. So if you want to give it a guess.
I want to guess the team that we know I'm talking about. They won the first round matchup. They were a 12 that won over a 5. Or 11 that won over 6, actually.
All right, so
can I be my pick? And if it's wrong, it's wrong. Can that just be my pick?
All right, so you're talking about Drake and it's wrong. Okay,
yeah,
so we can move past that.
All right, cool. We'll go past that, but that's exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, so we're going to go. I'm going to give you all 3 names here, and I will let you guys guess teams as much as you want to. All right?
Okay.
That's
so
fair here?
Yeah, free for all.
Yep, free for all.
Good.
You say a right name, then, we'll go from there.
Go ahead.
All right, so most famous players, or at least most relevant now, would be Bobby Wagner for one school, Bailey Zappi for another school, and John Morant for another
Western
school.
Kentucky.
Western Kentucky is correct.
Bailey Zappi.
That is correct.
Hilltopper. That's 5. We won.
That is
it's
5.
Over.
That is 5.
Oh, as soon as you said Western Kentucky, as soon as you said Bailey Zappi, where did Bobby Wagner go?
Utah State.
I would never got that.
John Morant.
No.
John Morant was the last one.
John Morant went to Murray State.
Murray State.
Bailey Zappi. That was a good one. I gotta shout out to Dante. I gotta shout out to Dante. He was Bailey Zappi by a million. The reason I knew he went to Western Kentucky, talking about Hilltoppers. I remember when they were talking about him starting over Mac Jones every week. But okay. Are we good?
Yeah, that's it.
Safeties list done, right? Oh no, we got baseball. We're gonna give our our awards winners, and then our World Series predictions, our playoff games, and our World Series. Or how are we doing it? What direction are we doing it?
I mean, we can do whatever you guys want to do. I'm ready to either way.
You tell me.
I mean, we can go through the season first. If we do it that way, we can go through the awards. I mean,
okay. AL or NL? Where are we starting, Chow?
AL.
I'll go. Oh, Jesus. Maybe I shouldn't ask you mid yawn.
All right.
I was boring you.
Not boring. I'm tired.
Wow, you have Detroit winning the division?
Yeah, baby.
Oh shit.
I like their pitching. I like the young kids. Did they make a run?
All right. So I don't know how we want to go through this. Obviously, I don't. These are kind of already just in order, but I don't want to always go first here. So I'm sure we'll switch up the order moving forward there. But I can just run through mine here real quick.
We can just talk about it. We don't have to we all have the Yankees winning the East. We all have the Orioles and the Red Sox in the playoff. That's where we all agree. Let's talk about where we disagree. All three of us have a different team in the AL West. I have Houston. Scally has Texas. Cottrell has Seattle. Just taking a guess. You're picking Seattle based on their pitching staff.
I mean, of course, that would have to be that. And then, I mean, I think this is my last year. Seattle I've been saying it all off season, I throw it out on up and in, or I tell Alex, I'm like, Seattle's that team. Of course, I think all of us were rooting for Toronto because of, all of the lineage that they had on their team. But for me, Seattle is that team where I'm just waiting for them to get over the hump. I mean, of course, has to be pitching there, but I mean, I think them adding a Rosarena in the lineup gives them a different vibe in that clubhouse. And I'm hoping, just from his time in Tampa Bay, he can bring some of that winning pedigree over to Seattle, and it gets them over the hump. And like we just talked about the outfielders list, Julio Rodriguez has to take that next step.
Charlie, why do you like Texas?
I like the lineup. They're going to be healthy. Obviously you're adding Langford in for hopefully a full year this year. And I think the pitching is going to be better. They get Jacob deGrom back this year. He looked incredible in his first start. If they're getting anything close to, 3 or 4 years ago, Jacob deGrom, he stays healthy all year. He's the best pitcher in that division by far. I think Texas has enough on both sides of the ball to win a division that's going to be, I think, a little bit closer than everybody thinks it's going to be. I think everybody's going to be within a couple games again this year.
I just have Houston do the pedigree. I couldn't pick a division winner. I'm perfectly fine with anybody having I would have Seattle over Texas, but I can understand Texas over Seattle. I think that division's absolutely as close as you said it's going to be. But I just went with Houston and Seattle for 2 teams from that division. Now we move to the Central. Obviously, my man Cottrell's got the reigning, defending, undisputed. You have the Guardians. Charlie's got the Tigers, and I have Bobby Witt Jr. and the Royals. Look, I'll be clear with you. I couldn't, I went through this division. I texted Cottrell this last week. I did.
He did. We talked about it.
It's no hate towards Cottrell's team, no hate towards the Guardians. I just think that as a whole, the Kansas City Royals just have a lot of guys that I think can put it together, right? With Bobby Witt Jr. there, you got Jonathan India was on a lot of my list in the past. He's a good ball player. I think that Seth Lugo pitched out of his mind last year. I think that as a whole, Kansas City will win that division, but I can be sold definitely against it. I'm not sold on them. I just think they have the best player in the division, so I went with them.
My biggest thing with Kansas City is I just don't think they have enough pitching. I definitely agree with you. I think they have the best player in the division with Bobby, but I like Detroit's young kids. I think with Riley Green, even Baez the third seems to be paying off so far. They have the best pitcher in the division. In Skubal, they got Jack Flaherty back after letting him go. After trading him, he signed back free agency. Casey Mize is a full year and a half off of Tommy John. He's looked great this spring, and they got a rookie in Job that's going to be the fifth starter. I just think they're going to be the upcoming team. I think they made a really good run in the second half last year. It kind of got overshadowed because they didn't make the playoffs, but I think they're going to carry a lot of that momentum over this year. And I think Detroit's going to win the division. I think it's going to be same as the West. I think it's a very, very close division.
Yeah, I mean, it was super close last year. And I think for me, like what kind of made me lean towards the Guardians this year, because I had no faith in them last year. I know you guys remember I didn't believe in them at all last year. But for me, I think they have the best bullpen in the division. I still have a lot of question marks with the starting pitching, especially with the early start. Like Bobby missed opening day. And just in general, like you don't really have much that you can rely on behind him. But I think with the bullpen and with the way that lineup can hit, I think they're going to be able to win a lot of these tight ball games. And especially if you're in a game where, it's a 1-run game, there's no bullpen that I trust more than that Guardians lineup in that division.
All righty. Who do you have representing the American League?
Me?
Yes, you. Who's your World Series representative from the American League?
So I'm rolling with the New York Yankees. I think we get the Yankees back in the World Series. I do think with Cole not being there the entire year, this is just a projection, but I think they're going to go out the deadline. They're going to get whoever's hot pitcher on the market at that point to just throw into their rotation there. I think their rotation now it's not great by any means, but I think it's good enough to get them throughout the year. At the deadline, you go get a guy who can be your day 3 kind of guy there in the rotation. But I just think that the lineup and all the talent they have is going to be a lot. So I think they go back to the World Series.
I also have the Yankees.
I'm going with Baltimore. I think Baltimore's a team that's going to go out and get somebody at the deadline. I think those young kids all take a step in the right direction. I think Adley gets back on track. As much as I like New York's offensive lineup, they're down their top 2 starters right now. I think that's going to play out over the course of the year. It's going to hurt them down the stretch. I think Baltimore with the new ownership is very aggressive, especially the year they had last year, getting those kids in the playoffs and really getting a taste for it. I think that city's ready. I think they're going to spend money. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think they go get somebody that puts them over the top. And I have the Baltimore Orioles going to the World Series this year.
My problem with Baltimore is, and this is the reason I have the Yankees, is I hear everything that you're saying, right? I hear that they're going to be aggressive and they're going to go out and get people. They had one of the best pitchers in baseball and they didn't pay him. And I just, that to me does not make sense. Like I that's the part that really pushed me off of Baltimore. And if I'm being honest with you, the one team I can see not making the playoffs that I have in the playoffs is Baltimore. I think Boston's better than them. I think they finished 3rd in the division. I just hate that they have one of the best pitchers in all baseball and they don't re-sign him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could definitely understand that lineup is just ridiculous, though.
I mean, it is. You got Adley, you got Cedric, Jackson Holiday's already looked better this year than he did last year. I think he's going to be great. Obviously, you're going to get one of the best shortstops in all baseball back. So, yeah.
Yep. What? Ready to move over to the NL?
Yes, sir. I wish I would have redid this. So I sent this list to Cottrell last week. I would not have had Atlanta winning the division after 1 week of the season. I'm not saying to just give up on them, but I am not really sold on the Atlanta Braves after watching them drop their first 7 games of the season. Austin Riley still looks lost at the plate. Matt Olson still looks lost at the plate. I'm sure they'll eventually figure it out, but yeah, not sold on it. But I'll start there. Looks like we all have the Dodgers. Shocker.
I went with the Phillies because I trust their pitching more right now. I think lineups, all things considered, are very equal and close. But you know, they Atlanta has Chris Sale. They lost Max Fried, who was their 2. Strider is sometime in the beginning of summer, probably. And they're relying on young kids right now, and they lost a couple bullpen pieces in the winter free agency. So I think top to bottom, I think Phillies are just a better baseball team. I have them winning the very, very competitive NL East.
I agree.
And
I think the Braves. I just don't think the Braves win the division at this point, and I've already given up on my original prediction.
I mean, I think that, granted, I don't think anybody would have said they expect the Braves to start off this bad, but I mean, again, we talked about them and their health and everybody returning from injury. Like, I also don't think anybody expecting to come out the gate and just be right back to all of their best forms either there. So I mean, I expected this team to kind of start slow there and, figure it out once everybody's back in June, and they can go on a run where they win 18 out of 22 games. Like, that's a team that's more than capable of doing something like that, getting right back into the thick of it.
Into the thick of it.
So yeah, you said we all got the Dodgers. Then the Central is where we are all over the place.
I went with lineup. I love the Brewers overall, like setup, that what they have as far as Joey Ortiz, Rhys Hoskins, William Contreras, and that's without saying Jackson Chourio. Like, I think that they're building young and they're going to win a lot of baseball games. They went out and got Nestor Cortez. He's nothing to write home about, but he'll be a quality starter. They still have Freddie Peralta. I think that Milwaukee's pitching staff will be good enough to keep them in, and I think their lineup will be good enough to put them over. Not Baltimore, sorry, Milwaukee.
I'm tired of Milwaukee at this point. Not with like the actual team themselves, but like they are similar, I guess, to us as well. But they, get as much juice as they can out of the squeeze there, and then they discard the players. Like, obviously Corbin, years ago, you get rid of Devin Williams this offseason, and they're still gonna, like, I feel like just at some point getting rid of this talent has to catch up to you. I'm not necessarily saying it's gonna be this year, but
sucks though,
at
bro.
some point it has
the
to
NL
catch
East
up.
and the AL East, NL East and the NL West are just a million times better. This division stinks. Throw a dart at a board. St. Louis could win the division. Chicago could win the division. Cincinnati could win the division. Milwaukee could win the division. Pittsburgh could win the division. Just throw a dart at a board and just know they're going to be eliminated in the first round. You notice that none of you guys have a second team in that division in your playoff race?
Absolutely not.
By the way, I completely made a mistake. I 100% have San Diego in my playoffs. I do not know why they're not on there. I don't know why I didn't send that over. I 100% have San Diego in my playoffs. Sorry.
Who are you taking out then?
I would take out the Arizona Diamondbacks over San Diego. I probably sent him Arizona like an idiot, but 100% of San Diego in the playoffs.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be on my own little ledge there, but
no.
I mean, I think the Diamondbacks are good. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they made it in, but San Diego, for me, again, just seeing how they played last year and in the playoffs. I mean, if we're being honest, like, I get it. The Yankees played well, and they lost a game that they probably shouldn't have lost. But San Diego as a whole, like, it came down to the Yamamoto game that they won 2-0. San Diego's a team that I believe in.
I like Arizona. I like Arizona for one of the guys we talked about a couple of minutes ago. Yeah. You look at San Diego, they lost Blake Snell. Arizona is getting Corbin Burns. They're getting a healthy Merrill Kelly back this year. They're 1 through 4. They're going to be very solid. I think lineups are very comparable. I'll take the team with the better pitching. I think once you get past Dylan Cease, I think it's a little bit questionable for San Diego right now. I think the division's going to be brutal. I think Colorado will be a little bit better than they were last year. The Dodgers are going to be the Dodgers, obviously. And then everybody else is going to beat up on each other. Because San Francisco is not bad either. So with their pitching staff, they're capable of winning out of winning a series 2 out of 3. very easily during the course of the season. So
Yeah.
NL West is going to be very competitive, but I'll take Arizona, their pitching staff.
I mean, it makes sense. Who is your? Let's get into our NL participant in the World Series. I'll go first, and I'll see if you guys are any unique people
LA.
out there. I hate you for doing that. I have the Dodgers also. Dodgers, Yankees.
I have the Dodgers over the Phillies in the NLCS.
So I have the Dodgers over the Yankees in the World Series. That's my World Series prediction.
I got the Dodgers over the Yankees as well. I think they go back to back. Bill, you got the Orioles or the Dodgers?
The Dodgers. And their $500 million payroll.
Friggin' goddamn cheat code.
Do we think it changes? If the Dodgers run through baseball again this year, do we think it changes?
No, I mean, listen. They have two moves they can make, and I think teams are going to have to decide. They're going to have to get together and talk and decide which way they want to do it. I think the deferred money thing is shit. I think if you're saying, hey, we're going to flex our muscle and use all our money, that's fine if you want to do that, but then you got to pay it. Like, I think being able to pay Shohei Ohtani $6 million a year is bullshit. So I think they're going to come up with something and saying you can only defer a certain amount of percentage of your total payroll past a certain amount of years, or they're just going to salary cap baseball. If they salary cap baseball, I think it'll get real interesting if they make it a hard cap, which is what they're going to have to do. Because if not, the Dodgers will just keep doing what they're doing and they'll just pay the luxury tax. So I think it's going to be very interesting when the next TBA comes up. I will tell you this: if they run through the league this year, I think the calls for it are going to get a lot louder, a lot quicker. Because again, I mean, it's one of those things. You know, I think we would all agree there's no owner in baseball that's not rich. I think we all agree with that. But at the same time, there are a lot of teams that can't afford a $450 million payroll. That's just the fact of the matter. So I mean, if you want parity through Major League Baseball like you have in the NFL right now, and that's your end goal, then I think you have to salary cap baseball. I think the one thing you have to do, and Gene said this in the past, and I agree with it, the floor has to be higher than it was before, though. You can't have Oakland with a $40 million payroll, and then at the end of the year having that owner be like, all right, well, where's my share of, you know, the luxury tax that gets broken up? Like that's BS. If you want to own a baseball team, kind of like we've said before, like if you want to own a baseball team, then own a baseball team. Don't do it so you can walk around and be like, oh yeah, I own the Pirates. I'd be like, all right, well, cool. Like you have the nicest stadium in baseball, and you can't get anybody to come because you don't pay anybody. Like I joked around, like if it ever got to the point where like I hit Powerball for like $1 billion, I would literally I would get my share and try to get a group together, and I'd probably buy the Pirates. And it would kill me. It would kill me. But like that team has so much potential. Yeah. Like if you put a winning team on the field, those fans will absolutely show up for that game.
They show up for the Penguins. They show up for the Steelers. Pittsburgh shows up. They're a very good sport.
They have a great fan base. And like I said, I'm not kidding you when I tell you they have the nicest baseball stadium in Major League Baseball. It's not hard. It's not a hard equation. That guy just doesn't want to spend money. Like there's odds already out, like where Paul Skeens ends up in like 3 years, because everybody knows he's not staying there. Like it's and that's a shame. That guy is an absolute franchise changing player, and you just know, like if you're a Pirates fan, every game that he's going to pitch at home, I would buy a ticket and go, because in a couple years he will not be there. It sucks.
I think the Dodgers break every record that you can break as the team. I think they're going to be the greatest baseball team ever assembled. Howard Glasnow is their fourth best pitcher on their staff. Like, are we serious right now? They got the best prospect from Japan to come over this year and to be their number 5 starter. Like, are we serious right now?
And that was with losing Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's why it's going to be like
Yamamoto, Otani, Blake Snell.
Otani's not going to pitch anytime soon, dude. But I get your point. I mean, it's still ridiculous.
That's
it's highly
playoff
class
matchups.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think there's a good chance Otani still doesn't pitch this year. He did an interview the other day. He's not even pitching off a mound yet. He's just like, I'm not even close to doing that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him. But again, the sick part is, to Gene's point, they don't need him. Let's just go hit home runs. We don't care. Like it's dumb. It's going to take. I don't like the onus of the thing. I don't like about it is Major League Baseball will try to do this the dumb way and put the onus on one of these owners to go spend $450 million to beat them, and then be like, oh, well, see, like that's all you guys had to do, and that's not the way to handle this. Like it's just not. But we'll see. If they cap it, I hope they cap it, and it's a hard cap. But they have to raise the floor to do that. Like I can't have. But
I said, who gets Sandy Alcantara at the
deadline? Dodgers. They're like, hey, we'll give you $300 million. We'll pay you $2.5 a year for the rest of your life. And I'm like, okay.
You want to double or nothing at Angelo's cheesesteak, Eric?
What does that say?
The Dodgers don't make the World Series.
I don't. Listen, playoff baseball is different. I'm not going to say no. Just something
catastrophic. Yeah, we'd say.
Yeah. Like something would just have to go bonkers for them not to make it.
Like let's get into our awards. We're running up against it, and we still didn't get into safeties. All right, so rookie of the year, I got Jackson Jobe. So I can understand where Shao is sitting. Shao, you talk about him more than me, but I love that. Control, I love you.
Travis Bonanza.
And Travis Bonanza, man, hey, number one overall pick last year, and there's already talks about him. You know, normally it takes you, 2-3 years to come up, but there were talks about him coming up to play second last year, which I thought was crazy, and I knew they would never do that. But I think he's going to be up by the summertime, and the way that he's been tearing it up in AAA and just what they talk about with him, I think he can come in and be an instant impact because God knows you need a second baseman. We let Jimenez go to the Blue Jays, and it feels like he's hitting a home run every single night. So I'm hoping they bring a spark back to second base in Cleveland.
Sheds a little light on that decision now, though. Jackson Jobe, big kid, hard thrower. He's already in the rotation for Detroit. Like I said, he's one of the reasons I think Detroit up and coming. I think they make a run in that division. He's going to be the number 5 starter. Really live arm, good stuff. He's going to go through his growing pains this year. He's going to have to learn how to pitch to big league hitters, not to try to overpower everybody. But I think he, like Cottrell said, his guy's not even up yet. I think Jobe is going to have the best chance because I think he is, barring injury, I think he's going to pitch all year. So I think he's able to rack up numbers and stats and really have the time to accumulate, votes that some of these other guys aren't going to have.
We got next. Oh, we listen, Cottrell. I love the route. I love the route. I mean, this is Yamamoto all over again. That's what
exactly.
It is.
I had him. I had Yamamoto last year, and I know Skeens ultimately won it. Skeens had an incredible year, but I mean, shit, you don't have to do much. You go out there, you pitch. I mean, you could have a 3.5, 4 ERA. You might be sitting at 13-1 when it's all said and done. So, I went with Sasaki, and I think he's gonna put himself in a great position just being on that Dodgers team and in that rotation.
It's gonna be interesting to see how he handles it. He got a little shook up the other night already, so
he's crying.
He's crying in the dugout. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out.
Baseball.
Well, best lines ever. I got Matt Shaw from the Cubs again. I picked the Cubs to win the division. He's part of the reason why. Came out was a really good second base when they moved him to third because Nico's already there. But decent pop, really good player. Just another guy kind of in the middle of the lineup that's going to, put up numbers. So And again, I have him. He's going to be an everyday player. It came down to him and the guy that Gene picked for me, which I'll let him talk about here in a second. But I really like Matt Shaw's game. Like I said, I think he's a middle infielder with a little bit above average pop. He's going to play the corner now, with Nico Hauser still there. But I think he makes Chicago better. I really do. I think he's going to be an everyday player. But barring any injury, I think he's going to play 100, 140, 145 games. He's going to have every opportunity to win the award.
I think that, listen, Dylan Cruz is incredible. Very, very, very good defensive center fielder. Made a ridiculous play the other night. He's obviously going to have his growing pains at the plate. He played 30 games last year, still eligible to win Rookie of the Year because he was a September call-up. But I think Dylan Cruz wins the Rookie of the Year in the National League, and I think he has a huge year. You just talked about the number 1 overall pick in 2023. Kittrell is the number 2 overall pick in that same draft. Dylan Cruz is an absolute monster, and I hate that he's going to be in her division because the guy rakes. Watching him play at LSU, he batted 400 his senior year at LSU.
As soon as he really figures out the strike zone in major leagues, he's going to be a problem.
He's so strong, fast. He's got everything. Oh, I love it, Chow. I love it. I hope you're right. I really do.
I will say this. I'll go first since you guys are the same guy. I think how good that team is going to be is going to get held against him a little bit. I really do. With as stacked as they are and the year that he had last year, I don't think if he has that type of year and Bryce goes nuts and puts the Phillies in the 2 seed, I honestly think Bryce is going to get more credit than Shohei is going to. I think Bryce fully healthy. Excuse me. No brace. He's been hitting the ball hard. I think he's going to have a monster year. Call it a Hilbert pick if you want, but the guy's won one before. He is, the guy for our team for a reason, leader, everything, and he's a stud. So I'll go Homer, but I really think Bryce Harper's there at the end of the year. I think he's in contention.
You called Homer, bro. You with no idea what you're about to see because I went super Homer with an underrated pick.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Gene. When you first sent it to me, I definitely had to I'm like, is this somebody? I know he's not talking about who I think he's talking about, but I was like, all right.
Went super Homer with it, but I'll explain it. I promise. I have some some stuff behind it, but I'm going Shoho. You're talking about a guy that is just 50-50 last year. I think he's going to pitch July in. I think he'll end up pitching for them. It's the best player in baseball. I get it. There's voter fatigue, but I'm going to go with the best player in baseball, and that's just who I'm going to pick.
Problem is you talk about voter fatigue. I just feel like at a point, certain numbers are just undeniable.
50-50.
And I think even a down year from that, you go 40-40, you get 40 doubles, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases, that might even be enough to win NL MVP, especially if the Dodgers win 105 baseball games this year.
That's kind of my point. I think if the Phillies win 98 and he doesn't do what he did last year with that stacked lineup, and again, we've seen baseball voters do crazy shit, with Hall of Fame and everything else. I think that roster and that payroll to some degree will get held against him a little bit. I'm not saying it makes him not win the award, but I think if somebody has a monster year and carries their team, then I don't care how you slice it. You take Shohei off the Dodgers, they're still a playoff team. They're still 100% make the playoffs this year. Take Bryce away from the Phillies. I don't know if you can say that.
Go ahead. Oh, well, this is really anticlimactic. I think that I love Bobby Witt Jr. Big Bobby Witt Jr. fan. I think that Aaron Judge will contend for this award because I think he has a monster year with that torpedo bat. But I think Bobby Witt Jr. is just walking into being the best player in the American League and being the second best player in baseball behind Shohei Ohtani.
I've been outspoken. I think he should have won it last year. Again, it's not. It's if your name of the award is most valuable player, I think he added more value to KC than Judge did to the Yankees. You take Bobby Witt Jr. off the Royals last year, they are terrible. You take Judge off the Yankees, they still have Juan Soto and everybody else.
I hear you.
But
I hear that.
But I think he wins it this year. I think he's a better year than he did last year. I think he makes it undeniable. Love watching the kid play. Love everything he does. So I hope he gets his first one that young in his career.
You guys have summed up everything beautifully. I get to see, well, I shouldn't say get to see. I have to see him throughout, the season with him being in our division. So know how special he can be. And the fact that he's cleaned up everything defensively and, taking even that side of the ball to the next level. He's all world. He's going to have a better year than he had last year. And I 100% agree with you guys. He's going to be MVP this year.
I love that you saved it for last. I love it. I didn't know if you did that intentionally. I actually think the two people that are listed for this award are what the award comes down to. I love Garrett Crochet. I was hoping the Phillies would do everything they could to get him last year. It's funny because they really don't need him with their starting rotation that it is. But when you have a guy that's just that good, I love Garrett Crochet. That's my pick. But Tariq Skubal winning it is not going to be a shock to me either. I think these are 1 and 2 for the Cy Young.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. And I'll just go quick here. But Crochet was a guy who I had in my top 5 list when we did our pitchers list way back when. And I do think that the change in scenery is going to do him well. I think it's different just getting out of that losing culture and being with the Boston team who's going to be, in my opinion, really competitive. I mean, all 3 of us had them going to the playoffs this year. And I think a big part of that is going to be he's going to be the ace of this staff here. So I think he has a huge year in Boston. Think he gets a ton of confidence, and think he's taking home Cy Young.
I'm not as high on Crochet as you guys both are. I'm going to be really curious to see where
you don't like his attitude, though. I think that's what it is.
I don't like his attitude, and he's never pitched over 200 innings. So I want to see what his arm's like. Come September and October. Skubal last year single-handedly carried that team to a playoff victory. So. In a series. So I know what he's capable of doing. Again, I'm not saying Crochet can't do it. I've always been the prove me guy. Show it to me. And if he does, then good for him. I think he has the stuff to do it. I think he's got good stuff, but I'll go with the more sure thing. The guy that I know for sure what I'm getting, and I'll go with the best pitcher in American League. I'll go with Skubal.
All right, this is what we've been waiting for.
I'm just gonna say I'm not all that surprised because I don't know where it came from, but I think he's the 5th or 6th best odds to win the Cy Young right now.
I can tell you exactly where it came from. He improved another 2 miles an hour on the velo, his fastball. He went from 92 to 94 to 96 in the last 3 years. He is young. He is upcoming. He's a rising star. His sinker's going out 96 miles an hour. His spin rate on his slider has improved for 2 straight years. And he's got one of the best changeups in baseball. And that, I just named you 3 pitches, and his changeup is the best pitch. The guy is stepping into a role and into the prime of his career. And I'm all in on Christopher Sanchez. I think the Phillies were absolute geniuses for signing this kid early last year. I love what he's doing. And his fastball jumped another 2 miles an hour, man. That's unheard of stuff to go from 92 in 2023 to 96 this year. That's insane. Sorry.
I think people forget how young he is too. So
yeah,
I mean, he's still really probably maturing a little bit physically. I'm going with Wheeler. I think they owe him one. I think the last 2 years, I think he's actually been bombarded and a lot of bad luck, like Chris Sale just having a resurgent year out of nowhere. I know Skeens is the popular pick, and again, I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's probably the most likely outcome, but I'm just praying that Wheeler finally gets one. He's pitched too good the last 3 years to not have won one, and he had another great outing again tonight. So I'm going with Wheeler.
And I'm going Paul Skeens here. I mean, I think, obviously we saw how great he looked last year as a rookie, but him coming into the season, adding 2 new pitches to his repertoire, I think is going to be deadly this upcoming year. So I think you are going to have a tough battle. I mean, there's a lot of great pitchers in the NL, but I like Paul Skeens to ultimately come out on top.
Guys, you guys let me know what you guys want to do here, but we're at 9:00. I don't know if this is something we start releasing weekly on the page. We show it here and release it. I don't know how much time you want to give this, but I definitely want to get into our list, our safeties list, and then you got to be kidding me, but we're at 9:00. So what type of audible would you guys like to call?
I don't want to shortchange it because I don't want anybody to just put their list up and say two things about each player and move on. I guess it just gets dicey because you're not here next week, and then 2 weeks after that, Cottrell's not here. But that being said, I mean, next week, what do we have? We have
the
Masters, and we'll have whoever wins the championship game. So I mean, it could probably be a pretty heavy football show next week.
You guys not here though. 3 of them. That's all right. I'll send mine. You guys are way more knowledgeable college football. Have Alex explain my picks. I don't care, but I just don't. I want to be clear. I don't want to not give it its justice. I just also don't want to rush it at 9:00, knowing we have to get off air.
It's kind of where I feel. Alex is going to pick all Oregon Ducks, just for the record. So
no, he can go over mine. I'll send my corners and linebackers to him.
All right, so we pushing it then, or we want to show it? What we want to do?
Leave that to Shally.
I would say show them, and then we'll go over them. Let's do this. Show them. Let Gene go over his, since he won't be here next week, and then we'll come back to it. And then that way, Alex only has to go over 2 of Gene's list, and then we can do all 3 of ours next week. That's my opinion.
I like that.
All right, on the fly. Let's make it happen.
Sorry, guys. I went a little homer here, right? And listen, I don't know where you guys have Kevin Winston Jr., but I watched him play, and the effect that he has on that Penn State defense, obviously, I get to watch that a little bit more. Also watch Xavier Watts jump in front of a Drew Aller pass, which made me sick to my stomach. But the point being is, those two can probably be switched. A lot of guys I picked are guys that I really got a chance to watch. I'm not sure if you guys have better lists than I do. The only thing that was very similar for me is Malachi Starks is the best safety in college football, and what I view as what a safety is. So, I won't take too long giving you guys a breakdown of each player because I'm just not as well-versed in these players as Cottrell and Shally are. But what I will say is this. Each one of these guys, outside of Nick Amanawore, who I got to see a little bit, I got to watch in college football playoff. I got to play football games. I got to watch really, and that's kind of where my list derived from. I'm sure you guys will have a better list than me, but these are 5 guys that, and I just couldn't leave Amanawore off the list because I've seen a little of his highlights and I did a little research on my own, and he's unbelievable. So if you guys can break down and dissect my list and tell me I'm terrible, I don't mind.
We actually have 4 of the 5, 4 of the same 5.
Yeah, 4 of yours are match 4 of mine. I went more homers than you did.
That's fair. Kevin Winston was incredible. Did anybody have him 3 or 2 or 1?
I don't have him on my list.
Okay, that's fair. Kevin Winston.
All right.
I think you had him 3.
I do have him 3.
Okay.
Wait, I'm even more perplexed by yours then.
He's the one I don't have. I got the other 4.
I don't.
All right. Okay. All right. I got you. All right. I know your list then. I got it.
I don't know what. And listen, once again, you're a lot more knowledgeable about this than I am, Cottrell. I don't know what Andrew Mukubo does that Kevin Winston Jr. can't do. I've watched him play for Texas because I watched all Quinn Ewers games. And I think that the difference is Kevin Winston is a lot more in the box, and Andrew Mukubo plays a little bit more over the top and can deflect passes, a little bit better pass coverage. But Kevin Winston was good in pass coverage also. They left him on a lot of islands, a lot at Penn State, and maybe it's homerish. Maybe it is. I love the way he plays football.
I'm actually really curious to see Cottrell's now because I figure between the two Penn State kids, that's not the one I think would have got left off, in my opinion. So I'll be very curious to see where everybody is next week.
Leave him on a cliffhanger. I love it.
Do you agree with his 1 and 2, Cottrell?
I mean, I think those are the top two. I don't like the order, but I mean, I think they're the top two.
I agree.
Eamon Worry is I you know what's funny though? I will say before February, I had this order. But watching Nick Eamon Worry's film, he is a monster. He is Cam Chancellor light. He'll take the ball away, he'll come down the box, run through you. Like, he is an absolute monster. Malachi Starks is more versatile, probably a better cover guy. He was really a corner that's playing safety and, in reality. So, like, I can understand it. But Nick Eamon Worry, I feel like he's going to go to the next level, and he's going to be an absolute game changer.
You might see Malachi Starks wearing the Eagles midnight green.
Well, that, and then you had, he had his combine, and then he tested off the wazoo. Ran sub 440. I think he's one of the only safeties ever to ran like sub 440, did something in the broad jump, something in the vertical.
Yeah. It's like he went like 11.3 in the broad, and then I think on the vertical.
Wild stuff. All right, well, we got Jeans. So next week we're doing what? Safety. We'll do our safeties,
corners and linebackers.
Corners and linebackers. So all right, then
we'll figure it out.
Do basketball recap and then Masters. So we need your Masters picks too, then, bud.
I got you.
All right.
I'll be watching the Masters. I'll be home for most of it.
When do you get back?
I get back Thursday night.
Oh, well, that's perfect for the Masters.
Yeah. But I'll tell you right now, I honestly am mocking right now. I'm mocking right now the Eagles to take Malachi Starks.
If he
that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson role, he very versatile, very coverage based. Georgia, they have the lineage right there. Exactly where I'm at.
Georgia North.
And the funny thing is that Malachi Starks is the guy that played his true freshman year, so he knows. I mean, he's played with literally on the field with Nolan and Jalen and all those guys. So
yeah,
would be interesting.
He's definitely the most seasoned out of the group and probably the smartest out of the group.
Late first, early second is where he's mocked anyway. I think if he's around the Philadelphia Eagles, absolutely grab him.
The problem is it has to be literally the last pick. I just don't know if he gets there, but it's possible. All right, so we done with the safeties. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so because we were just talking about college football, I mean, it's only right that I stick with the topic there. This week for me, you had Deion Sanders, coach of Colorado, and Fran Brown, coach from Syracuse, that we're talking about trying to potentially get together this offseason and during the spring, get together and do a little NFL style preseason kind of camp, and then end the weekend off with the spring game, which would have been absolutely incredible. I mean, it's gone over great at the NFL level. You get a lot of competition between the players, and I just felt like that was a decision that would be a no-brainer. To me, just hearing the idea, I didn't even think the NCAA had to get involved because it, in reality, has nothing to do with them. You're going to get extra ratings on a random day in the spring that you wouldn't have otherwise got. You could have put it on ESPN, ACC Network, wherever you wanted to put it, it could have been there. But the NCAA had to step in, and they said, yeah, that's not happening. We're not going to allow that. NCAA, time and time again, you get it wrong, and this is another instant. There are a ton of things wrong with college football right now. You have players literally getting paid to leave their university. You have illegal tampering that's going on that you're just letting happen. Hell, you got players at Georgia that literally every other day commit some sort of traffic violation and do something illegal that lands them in jail, and you haven't said one word about it. So for me this week, the NCAA yet again worrying about the wrong thing and not letting us get some competitive spring ball action.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Shall?
All right. I was going to do the one you sent me, and then I forgot about this. I had actually written this one down, and I'm past the point of annoyance about talking about it, but here we are, front and center again, right before the WNBA starts, and we're going to talk about it again. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why we have to continually just not let Caitlin Clark and not let Angel Reese just be who they are. I don't understand why it has to be a race thing. Monica McNutt went on ESPN, said the only reason people like Caitlin Clark is because she's white. I don't, and Angel Reese gets backlash for too many other things because she's black. Now that part I would probably partially agree with. People like Caitlin Clark because she's good at basketball. Not everybody likes Caitlin Clark because she's white. But again, you've now brought this conversation up again weeks before the season starts that you can't let these women just go play basketball. Now the conversation again is going to be over race, not the growth that again we've all said numerous times on here, not the growth that both of them sent the league through the roof last year, not the endorsements, not all the extra money, not all the TV deals, not all that stuff that they both helped bring into the league next year. Now we just want to talk about we can't like Caitlin Clark now because she's white. I just don't get it. I don't get it why in one conversation all we talk about is let's move away from race and not make things racial. But then we have to have this conversation about Caitlin Clark possibly being the face of the league, which I got bad news for you, Monica. It's going to happen one way or the other, whether you like it or not. Like it's kind of already happened, but it's definitely going to happen as soon as Asia and all those women are done. She's going to be the face of the league for the next decade. So swallow it. If you don't like it, don't care. Get used to it. It's going to be what it's going to be. But now, again, we can't just let their games and their accolades and their social media presence and everything great they're doing for the game just speak for itself. We have to talk about race again because that's the low-hanging fruit. We just can't let it go. We just can't let people go play basketball and help grow the sport. So for this week, for me, once again, I'm going with Monica McNutt for just being an idiot.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Can someone help me understand something? What race is Kelsey Plum?
I don't know the answer.
She's white.
I imagine she's white.
Yeah, she's white. I was being satirical. What race is Paige Beckers?
She's white.
Okay, so I don't understand why people would just fling to Caitlin Clark, not the one before and after her, if it wasn't for her basketball game. That's the part that just drives me up a wall. If it's the only reason she's popular is because she's a white girl, why didn't people flock to Kelsey Plum, who had the scoring record before Caitlin? And why aren't people flocking the same way to Paige Beckers, who was the one that was recruited to UConn ahead of Caitlin? So, I don't understand why Monica McNutt says things like that. But if we're talking about ignorant comments, let me get into mine. Shaquille O'Neal was asked yesterday what would happen if him and Nicole Jokic, 2025, Nicole Jokic, and 2001 Shaquille O'Neal. And he said, it would be Slovenian chicken. I'm getting 40, and they're going to have to double me. He's going to pick and pop. After he shoot the three, I'm running right to the middle of the lane, and the whole arena going to yell 3 seconds, and we'll see. And I'm going to hit way more twos than he hits threes. I'm going to guarantee you that. I don't know if you knew this, but Nicole Jokic is from Serbia. If you're going to be an ignorant asshole on it and just say you just can't compare to a guy that won 3 MVPs already and is going to be a runner-up for a 4th. He was a runner-up for another one. The guy is incredible He just said, didn't he have like a 50 or 40, 50, 60 point triple double the other night in an overtime loss? That, by the way, you could easily use Russell Westbrook for, you got to be kidding me, for how bad that team transpired. The point being is, he's a great basketball player. He's an NBA champion, and he's won. And why does Shaquille O'Neal have to be this way? Why does Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal get to get on TNT and just sound like ignorant jackasses talking about the game of basketball? Talked about Charles Barkley earlier in the year, not even knowing who the Detroit Pistons head coach was. I just can't get it through my thick skull that you can be that ignorant on TV. I can't imagine. And listen, I'll get into race here for a minute, because Lord knows I've absolutely been an honest advocate on both sides. But I can't imagine if a European NBA announcer talked about an African-American player or a black player and used it in a different country or a different context. But Shaquille O'Neal can get on TNT and Slovenian chicken. The guy's from Serbia. The guy's a 3-time MVP. You sound like a jackass. Don't say dumb shit like that. I can't stand that shit. So for that, this week, Shaquille O'Neal.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
And the fact that none of us used Anthony Edwards, he needs a mention too. He's an absolute moron also. And maybe I'll take an extra 30 seconds to talk about that stupid asshole. He's got a kid coming, and he goes, I don't want this child. I'll pay the child support for the first 18 years. I want nothing. Listen, what that woman did is disgusting. She tried trapping him. She absolutely knew what she was doing. And she did. She trapped him. She's going to get paid a lot of friggin' money. But the fact that your seed is growing in another person and you want to pay the 18-year child support and not have anything to do with it, you need to be a little bit more responsible, Anthony. Should be a 4th child, by the way. You have 3 of them already. Why don't we just stop? Why don't we just slow down? Why don't we just be more protective of ourselves? That's a stupid-ass comment. Here, I'll give you 18 years of child support. Get the hell out of my life. I want nothing to do with you or the kid. Another kid's going to grow up without a father because you're a jerk-off. Sorry.
I think it's the first time seed has been used on this show in 3.5 years, so I think we should clip that.
I'll tell you, when people do dumb shit, it bothers me.
Bro, I'm not disagreeing. You just said seed, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice of words. I'm with it, though. I'm with it.
The Anthony Edwards situation is,
bro, he's like Tyreek Hill light, dude. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. The last thing I want to do is, if I had all that money and I'm literally dedicating my life to staying in shape 365 days a year, playing through injuries, dealing with all of it. And that's why you get paid hundreds of $1 millions, because it's a lot. The last thing I want to do is sit there and just be like, yeah, here, you can take 30. You get that's the last thing I want to do is give it away. For everything I'm doing for it. And it's ugh, I don't know, man. It's a bad look. But
and sorry, we'll wrap it up. We'll be done. And I'm sure Cottrell's got a commercial for this week's Real Recognize Real. And I don't want to take too much time, but guys, the Shaquille O'Neal comment, are we serious? Why are we saying shit? Why is and I guess he gets to be on TV and say dumb shit like that all the time because he's Shaquille O'Neal.
I think he gets away with a little bit because he's like Barkley, dude. He comes off as funny and so beloved. He gets passes for things that he probably shouldn't. I agree with you on that. But I'll tell you this. It's funny how much that conversation has gotten louder the last couple of days because of the way Joker's playing. This kind of goes back to what me and you were talking about last night with Steph and Magic. And I think that is becoming the hot topic debate of, if Joker keeps playing like this for another 3 or 4 years and wins the championship, does he pass Shaq? And I'm just like anything else. I don't think Shaq likes it. I think Shaq's making fun of it right now, it's being whatever it is. But if Joker does get there, gets another MVP, I mean, the Terry's on right now in the last month is ridiculous. He had a 60-point triple-double last night. If he gets there, then Shaq doesn't really have that conversation with anybody right now. And that gap is quickly closing to where it's going to start being a discussion.
I just don't like when every time a center comes up or someone's doing well in the league, he has to bring them down. He did it with Dwight. He's doing it with Jokic. I just don't understand why he has to do the things he does. Guys, we got to wrap up. I'm sorry. Cottrell, can you please introduce us to this week's athlete?
Yeah. So, I mean, this week we have Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, Bill Belichick's stomping grounds, and a guy who I think is the top 3 running back in this year's class. So, go ahead, get right into it.
Hike! JMU blitzing. Hampton gets through to the second level and into the third level, stays on his feet in the end zone for a touchdown. A 15-yard score for North Carolina.
I love it, bro. I love Omarion Hampton. Did I read that score right? Was that 60-31 at that point?
Yeah, that game was high scoring.
They had a couple of those games last year.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, I mean, a lot of people are predicting him to go to Denver, which I think is a great landing spot for him if that's where he goes. But I'll be watching the reel as always. Cottrell does great work. So if you're a college fan, 100% tune in, watch it. You'll
recognize the reel. Be real and recognize the real. Guys, look, I will not be here next week. I am doing my annual President's Club for my job. I will be in Mexico golfing on a LPGA Tour golf course.
Tight lies, remember, Bermuda grass.
I hit the ball great today. I had a great day. But listen, Cottrell and Shally, they always do a very moderate job when I'm not here. Hold them to the same standard and make sure that I'm kidding. They do a great job. Listen, I can't ask for better guys to get to work with weekly. So enjoy next week without me. You won't have me interrupting or talking over people. You guys will probably have a way more educated show.
For all those listeners that enjoy the gene-free week every year, it is next week, so make sure you tune in. Get your 2 hours of gene-free Wire2Wire for the year.
2 hours you get, and listen, we'll have a lot more softball guys listening next week. That's all we got for this week.
That's funny.
I'm the NFL Genius Team Walls. That's Kent State's own, Cleveland's own College Cottrell, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shawcross, and we are signing out.